Nintendo finally did it. Listen, I like 2D Mario. Some of my favorite games growing up were the 2D Mario games. Some of my first games I ever played was Super Mario Bros. For the GBA, the NES Classic, or Mario World, or Yoshi's Island on GBA. And then from that, I went to the New Super Mario Bros. Series, and I've always enjoyed New Super Mario Bros. In fact, I actually am a defender of that series, which a lot of people don't like. But it's never been on the level of like a 3D Mario game. I think the quality has not been there. The love and attention has not been there. There are some unique levels in those games. There are some aspects that shine through a little bit, but there's never been a 2D Mario game since Mario World that I can look at and think, wow, they really gave it their all. They put their heart and soul into this game. Well, I just finished playing through Super Mario Bros. Wonder last night. I still have plenty to do in terms of optional levels and all of that, but I rolled credits last night, and I can safely say this is the best 2D Mario game, and frankly, I don't even think it's close. This game is on a completely other level from the other 2D Mario games. Before this, I would have probably said Super Mario World was my favorite 2D Mario game. Of course, that's a lot of nostalgia in there, and I know that Mario World is very important for its time, and of course, all these things, right? Super Mario Wonder, it's just a better game. There are so many creative and unique ideas. The amount of love that was clearly poured into this game with each and every animation, every sound bit, every level, you can just tell while playing it. I think it's the second or third level, and by the way, this video will only contain footage from World 1, so don't worry too much about spoilers. I think it was the second or third level. I had to put my controller down and I was like, wow, this game is good. You'll know what I'm talking about. I won't show footage of it, but I was like, wow, this is such a cute little thing they did, and the entire game is like that. I think about my experience with my current game of the year, which is Tears of the Kingdom, and of course with Breath of the Wild, and even something like Super Mario Odyssey, and how every, like, 5 minutes or something in that game, every few seconds even, I don't know what the exact time span is, there's always something happening, something that kind of makes you go, oh, that's really cool, that's a neat idea. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is just that, but even more. Playing through this game, you will consistently be grinning from cheek to cheek. It's just that intuitive, it's just that creative. They're doing stuff I hadn't seen before in a 2D platformer or a Mario game, and it's just so refreshing after those years of, I like New Super Mario Bros., but those uncreative games, those games are very uninspired, let's say, to put it lightly. So to see the shift from New Super Mario Bros. U, or I guess NSLU was the most recent 2D Mario game, to this, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it's just such a drastic gap in creative design and just purpose, and everything feels good, and it's just, man, once you play the game, guys, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, trust me. I love 3D Mario, I love Odyssey, Galaxy 1 and 2, of course, 64, one of my favorite games of all time. This feels like a 2D Mario game designed with the design mentality of a 3D Mario game. This doesn't really feel like a 2D Mario game of yesteryear. It kind of reminds me of when 3D Land came out in 3D World. Those were 3D Mario games that were inspired by the 2D formula, the New Super Mario Bros. Formula, you know, grabbing the flagpole, clearing the level, and they're a little bit more, you know, linear, all that stuff, right? Mario Wonder, of course, is still a 2D game. You play through each level, you go to the next level, right? But within each level, it feels like there's more moment-to-moment gameplay that I feel like aligns more with the design philosophy of a 3D Mario game, which is just really interesting, and frankly, it just works so dang well. You know, I've seen people saying that, oh, they should do a Mario Wonder theme for the next Mario Maker 3 on the Switch too. I don't know that this can be replicated with a tool set, because every level, yes, there are like certain things you'll see a couple times reused, but for the most part, every level plays pretty dang uniquely. And that's saying something, because there is a lot of levels in this game. I think it's the biggest 2D Mario game. Once again, I haven't 100%ed it, but there's a lot of levels. And something I really like that they did with Mario Wonder is they added these shorter levels. So we'll get to badges in a little bit, but there are these badges which give you these cool abilities. There are badge challenge levels where you just have to really use that badge, and if it's a badge that lets you jump higher or something, you have to use that to your advantage, or do a double wall jumper, these things. Or maybe there's like a race level, or there's this really just short kind of, they're just called break time. You just take a break basically, and it's just a free Wonder Seed, free power-up basically, or a free collectible, right? But they're always really well done. Even if it's an easy level, they still manage to make you say, oh wow, that's really cute, that's really cool how they did that. and you know, they'll be playing like some classic Mario music or whatever the case is. It's just every level, every second of this game is filled to the brim with such joyous wonder, pun intended, that it's frankly incredible. And that's just talking about the design of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the animations slash music. Kind of wanted to put these together. The animations, as we've seen from the trailers, are incredible, bar none. I think this is probably, honestly, in terms of an art direction, the best looking Mario game. Of course, you know, I get it. I'm very positive right now. Honeymoon phase. Maybe I'll come down on that a little bit later. But right now, I mean, this game is beautiful. Every level, every background drop, the way they do the parallax scrolling, this game looks freaking awesome. The animations, the character expressions, it's fantastic. The sound design, I did see this in an interview where apparently the sound design team was brought on very early, and that's how the Talking Flowers came to be, which I have to shout out. The Talking Flowers are probably one of the best additions to this game. I absolutely adore their little kind of snotty humor and you know, kind of observations they'll make while you're running through a level. They're very helpful as well. It's such a great design choice too. Like if you're stuck with a puzzle or something, or if you don't know where to go, or if you don't want to get this star coin, or in this game it's the purple 10 coins, they'll give you little hints, or they'll kind of give you hints. There was one I was actually stuck on, and me and my friend Tony, we were playing and we just could not figure it out, which is cool. I've never played a Mario game where I actually cannot figure out how to get something, but this game actually does have some stuff like that, which is just kind of cool. But yeah, apparently the sound design team was brought on very early to make sure that it was all kind of in unison with the design of the gameplay itself. And I have to say, man, oh man, did it pay off. The sound design in this game is... I would have to like replay Odyssey. I don't remember ever being blown away by the sound design in Odyssey. In fact, I don't remember ever really being blown away by the sound design of any Nintendo games, really. I'm not talking about the OST. Of course, Nintendo, Xenoblade, Zelda, these games have incredible soundtracks. I'm talking about the little things. I'm talking about the sound Mario makes when he hits his head on top of a block or something. Or the fact that that sound changes when he hits it on a different type of texture or wall or whatever the case may be. That stuff, the little stuff in this game. Of course, the music as well. The music in this game is incredible, and there's a lot of tracks. I do wish there was maybe a little bit more. I feel like sometimes I hear the same song a little bit often, but not to the point where it's like, oh man, they've really reused this New Super Mario Bros. Tune a million times in this game. That never really happens. But it's really that little stuff, the sound of jumping, or the sound that you make when you go through a pipe. These little things just add up to make such a polished and honestly pristine package of a product. If you are looking for a video game to buy and you see this on the shelf and you're like, I want to buy a product that is well made, I'm not going to experience any bugs, any glitches, any weird stuff happening, I want everything to feel perfect, this game feels perfect. I mentioned badges briefly. I do want to mention this again. So the badges are really cool. I guess criticism, maybe. I wish there was more of them. There's not that many, but there's a decent variety. Badges are basically abilities. So in this game, and I saw some people complaining about this, you can play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, Toad, all that stuff, right? But they don't have any unique abilities, and a lot of people were upset, like, oh, why doesn't Peach float? Or why doesn't Luigi jump higher? That's because they added badges, and I think this is a great solution. It lets you play whatever character you want, while also then having the option to choose what ability you want. So instead of having Peach, who can float, or Luigi, who can jump higher, those are badges. Or you'll have a badge that lets you do another jump mid-air, or a badge that makes you sprint indefinitely, and it's actually kind of like a handicap you're putting on yourself. Or I got one that makes you spin indefinitely too. Stuff like this, I feel like, you know, as a content creator, I look at that and I'm like, wow, this feels designed for someone like Nathaniel Bandy to do like a Mario Wonder run using only the sprinting badge, right? Or something like that. So that's exciting, but also just having that choice to use whatever ability you want is so refreshing and so rewarding. Certain stages, of course, if you're in the water, there's a badge that like makes you do a little swim dash thing. That's going to be useful. The little Prince Florian, the character in this game, he'll tell you like, hey, you should put this one, but you don't have to. So I just really like the badges. It gives you that player choice. It adds a lot of variety, adds a lot of replay value, and I really like it. Another thing I want to talk about, and this is something I made a video on specifically before that Mario Wonder Direct in August, saying this game needs to have, and that is online play. I was a little worried when we saw it because, you know, it looked more like Ghosts, and it didn't look like you could really interact with your friends all that much. But after playing the game, it became immediately apparent that Nintendo made the right choice. Now listen, I still think it'd be nice if there was an option to play online with your friends in a private room and actually touch each other. And like, you know, you can pick up your friends and throw them. You can still do that locally if you play locally, which I did do at PAX West, so I have some experience with that. But online, everybody is a ghost. So the way that works is, technically, if you are playing a level with your friend in a room, you're technically in two different instances of the level. So if I hit a block in my world, it's not hit in my friend's world. Or if you activate something, it won't activate in my world, it activates in their world. That might sound like a negative, and I guess if from a certain perspective, it could be viewed as that, but I really, really like this. It makes exploring the levels a lot more fun. You don't just rely on your friend to do everything. You can kind of cooperate and just be like, hey, make sure you come over here, hit this block, and get the coin or whatever, right? But what's more than that, what's more than just doing with friends, is I completely missed this in the Nintendo Direct. You can just turn this game online and play with everybody. So if you load into a level, there's pretty much always going to be ghosts of other players running around, and that's just really cool. It might not hit for some people, but I always like feeling connected in video games, so having these character ghosts running around just feels really nice, especially in certain levels where you have to find, like, this coin or whatever, right? And they'll, like, do an emote and tell you to, hey, come over here, over here, and then they, like, tell you how to do it. Or I was doing a level where you have to, like, use the drill power-up, which they showed in the trailers, to get to a secret item, and the person, I could see that the person was struggling to figure out how to get it. So I was like, hey, come over here. I showed them where to get the drill power up, and then I led them back over to where to drill into the ground and then get the secret, right? And it's stuff like that that is just so fun and novel that, like I said, for some people, I think this probably won't hit as much as it did for me, but it has been so enjoyable just being online at all times. I also really, really like the standee system. So standees are basically just these little cardboard cutouts you put down, and there's a ton of them to collect. You can buy them using purple coins, which are just this game's currency, basically. You can put them down, and other players can then, if they die, they turn into a little ghost. If they are close enough, they can go to that standee and it'll revive them. And then you kind of have like this heart level associated with you just based on how many players you've helped, which is kind of cool. It's a nice little passive thing to go for. But what's really cool, and I would like to see Nintendo in the future fully go for this angle, people are using them like Dark Souls messages, which is really cool. So with each character, usually in each level, there's going to be a hidden block. So like Yoshi will see this block. However, if you're playing as Mario, you can still hit that block, you just won't see it. So what a lot of people are doing is they're putting the standees up on blocks that are invisible. Or even if it's not a special character block, just invisible blocks in general, people will put the standee there, then it's like, okay, well, if there's a standee floating right here, I have to assume that I have to hit that, right? So people are almost using them like Dark Souls like tips, and I really, really like that. I would like to see Nintendo maybe try to use that a little bit more in the future. Maybe the next 3D Mario has some sort of messaging system like that. Even like not just Miiverse messages, because I think that's a little too on the nose, but like standees, right? Having just a little object there. That's really, really cool. So the gameplay is great, the animation and music is great, the online is really cool, the badges are awesome. I did not mention the actual wonder effects, which is the main gimmick of this game, but this goes into why I think the level design is so good. Every level has this wonder seed you pick up, or wonder flower you pick up, which completely transforms the level, usually makes Mario do something quirky, like turn into a Goomba or whatever, right? We've seen that in the trailer. Which is why I was saying earlier that I don't think something like this could work in Mario Maker, because every level has something unique about it. It's a really, really great addition to this game, and I think it pretty much fixes any issue you would have with the other 2D Mario games of maybe the levels becoming repetitive, or you kind of just get tired of playing, because every level is something unique. So I do want to say the Wonder Flower, goated. However, and I'm going to start winding down here, tune out of the video now if you don't want to hear anything negative, I do have one very negative thing about this game. And I think for me, as a player, I don't mind this that much. It's definitely disappointing, especially when you see how much creativity and love is put into the rest of the game. And I'm not going to spoil anything, I won't say what this is exactly, but the bosses suck. They're fine. I shouldn't say they suck. The bosses are like bare minimum. They did what they needed to do to say there are bosses in the game. If you are a fan of New Super Mario Bros., you will know immediately when getting into this game, like, okay, well, yeah. It's very disappointing. I'm very surprised. The final boss is pretty good. It's nothing like crazy good, but I like the final boss in that final area. But the mid bosses and the bosses in the other worlds, man, it's crazy. Because the rest of the game is so refreshing and so creative and so new. For them to just do this with the bosses, as soon as you play the game, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think the bosses are bad necessarily, but it's just, they could have been much more. And I'm considering how much love was put into the rest of the game, I'm frankly shocked that they didn't do more, because I know they have it in them. I know they could have made the boss fights better in this game, and they just didn't, which is just, that is definitely the biggest disappointment I have with this game. And outside of that, I mean, I can't really think of anything else negative to say about this game at all. I think this game is very close to being perfect. I think it is the best 2D Mario game. It is one of the best games on Switch. It's certainly up there with Tears of the Kingdom as my game of the year now and for 2023. It's just that one negative that really stops it from being truly a perfect video game, because otherwise, I mean, this is such a sublime experience. I'm going to be playing it, gonna 100% it, of course, with friends. That's another thing, too, with the online. There's no weird, like, oh, if I'm playing with my friend, only one person's carrying their progress, like in 3D World on Switch. Everybody carries their progress, so going through some of the last levels, I was missing some of the purple coins, I was missing some of the Wonder Seeds, which you have to unlock to get more levels. And, you know, I was like, okay, I'm just going to beat the game, and I'll go back later. Now I can go back later once my friend plays through it and just do it with them. So that all just works very well together, and I'm very excited to play more of this game. So that is going to do it for this video. Of course, the game is out now. I hope you are all enjoying it. Let me know your thoughts so far down in the comments below. I'll probably have another video up talking about this game with a special guest, hopefully in a week or two once we're all said and done 100%ing the game, so stay tuned for that. And until then, I mean, I do want to do a video talking about just the future of Mario. A lot of people did videos like that after that June Direct, and I have to say, now that the proof is in the pudding with Mario Wonder, I'm very excited for Mario RPG, Princess Peach Showtime, and then, of course, naturally, that next 3D Mario. So the future is very bright for Mario as a franchise right now, and I could not be more excited as a Mario fan. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch coverage, news, all of that fun stuff, and until next time, folks, peace!